Well, I really wanted to include Two for the Road in this series of solo pieces because Well, it was written by Henry Mancini, who's one of my favourite musicians. It was written in 1967 for a real classic British romantic comedy called Two for the Road, which starred Audrey Hepburn and Albert Finney. It was directed by Stanley Donen and was written by Frederick Raphael. Now, the plot, I just want to tell you about it because this is really important, because I just feel that Henry Mancini just managed to capture the time and place so well in this. The plot is a husband and wife going on a road trip to the south of France, 1960s, and this song just really captures that time and that place. They're on this road trip. They're kind of examining their 12-year relationship. I think it was 10-12 years they'd been together, and there's all kinds of funny things that happen along the way. Wonderful movie. If you get a chance to see it. Frederick Raphael got an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Audrey Hepburn got a Golden Globe for Best Actress, and Henry Mancini got a Golden Globe as well for Best Original Score. Henry Mancini just had this way of capturing the atmosphere. It's why he was such a brilliant composer of film music. And one of the things that I do whenever I write music is I've kind of used, I call it my Henry Mancini technique, because I might go somewhere and I imagine that I'm in a movie and think, well, what would the soundtrack be for this? What would Henry Mancini write? So if you're going to copy from somebody, copy from the best. So I think, well, what would be going on in Henry Mancini's mind right now? What would he be thinking of the best music to capture the mood? So he did that in a lot of movies. Another one, of course, he did another Audrey Hepburn movie, Breakfast at Tiffany's. He wrote Moon River for that, which is an absolute classic. And but this song, Two for the Road, he considered this to be his favourite song that he'd written, which is quite something, because he wrote such great music. He actually considered that better than Moon River, which we think of as a real classic, and probably a song that more people are familiar with. I've got a very loose connection with this, because my old boss, Stefan Grappelli, who I've worked with for 11 years, so this is actually the guitar that I played with Stefan or during that time. W.G. Barker, made in Toledo, Ohio in 1964, so that's actually the right vintage for this tune. Stefan played the theme on this. There's a violin theme, so he obviously wanted this real kind of French jazzy sound, inimitable sound. I mean, as soon as Stefan played, you knew it was him. So Stefan played the theme on this, and also there's an accordion version of the theme as well, which was played by my good friend Jack Emblow, who was in my group Spirit of Django. And Stefan spoke a few times about the music. He loved the music, and he was very friendly with Henry Mancini. But Jack told me one story, because apparently Stefan had a lot of trouble understanding Henry Mancini's American accent. So sometimes Jack would have to kind of translate to him. Stefan spoke and understood English very well, but for some reason he had trouble with that. But then they would sometimes speak to each other in Italian, of course, because Stefan's father was Italian. Yeah, so this is a real favourite of mine. I've recorded it before. I've recorded it with the great Swedish jazz guitarist Ulf Vikenius, and it's one of the tunes that we always enjoy playing. And I love the way the melody starts on this. It's the first chord is an F sharp minor 7 flat 5. But the melody starting on it actually starts on an E. So it's E, E, F, E, E, and C, which is the flat 5 of the F sharp minor 7th. And to my ears, the starting note would have been a B. So actually it's kind of quirky, because it actually starts on a note that you wouldn't quite expect. So as soon as that first chord comes in the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, it immediately gives you a kind of lift. Henry Mancini, just such a fantastic musician. This theme just captures the south of France in 1960s, and in 1960s Technicolor.